So, Sheikh, I did a survey on my Instagram yesterday asking people, should new couples get a joint bank account? And should new couples get a prenuptial agreement? I know you're working on a marriage course, and this is something you may discuss over there, inshallah. But I'd love to get your insight on these two topics.
I'm giving bits. I'm not giving the whole thing at the moment. You'd have to.
Exactly. So any thoughts on these two concepts, joint bank accounts and prenuptial agreements?
Again, there's no black and white rule with this one. Flexibility is very important. Rigidity creates more problems. Yani, when do we go back to Islamic rights and boundaries? We go back to them in times of conflict. When both parties are not able to find a solution, they're in conflict. So we say, okay, let's start again. These are the standards that Islam says, and then start to work slowly towards it. But flexibility is very important in a relationship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't tell us, he focuses on family and relationships as being flexible, giving up a bit more of your rights, doing a bit more of your obligations. So each circumstance is different. We've got to look at the couple and see, okay, what mentality do they have? What kind of culture and attitudes do they have? What kind of professions are they in? Because, that affects their behavior. Sometimes you might have a brother who marries a sister who does law, for example, and he's, for example, in trade or business and so on. So they're going to have a little bit of different mindsets. One might say, I'd like things written. I'd like things to be documented, such as prenups. And I've seen that happen before. Once I've done a couple of marriages where they had about 16 pages of prenups. The majority of them they're already in the Qur'an and Sunnah, and you didn't really have to write them. However, I accept them, because if that's what works between both of you, that's fine, inshallah. Because some people just have this mentality that, look, I'd like to have things written. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's distrust. It just means that they themselves, this is how they operate in life. And what you can do with that is adapt to each other, inshallah ta'ala. Having joint accounts works for couples. The important thing is that both of them agree to this, that neither of them is forced to do it or pressured to do it. So, for example, some people may, and I use this word because young people use it, gaslight each other by saying, well, if you love me, I think that it's loving between husband and wife if we had our same joint account. The husband might say, I believe it's loyal. A wife is more loyal if we had a joint account. And she might say, well, I don't think a husband loves his wife if they can't share their wealth together. There's no trust. These statements are unfair, because that's not really the case in every case. And I think we get this a lot from social media, as we mentioned before. We hear, people giving their own opinions based on their experiences, their own traumas and their fears, and then we inherit this and we take them off. And we shouldn't do that. You should look at your own circumstances. So I had a couple, for example, who were fighting over their money circumstances. The husband, is saying, I'd like separate bank accounts. The wife is saying that, where's the trust and love between us? We should have joint bank accounts. So I sat with them and said, look, sister, if you want to have separate bank accounts, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, here are the benefits. The benefits are that if any conflict arises, you know exactly what your property is. He knows what his property is. When it comes to inheritance, for example, it's easier for you to calculate who deserves what and how much, what is the pool of money in each spouse. At the same time, you have some autonomy and privacy to your wealth. These are things that you can look at the pros. I'm just trying to fix the situation between them. And I said to the husband, well, what do you think of making, a joint account with part of the money? Why don't you agree that we use this joint account for utilities and things, and then when they run out, you can add to it, or your wife can add a little bit more. So instead of having black and white mentalities, find a compromise. This is the best thing. As I always go by the motto in the hadith, saddidu wa qaribu. If you can't reach the entire target, what you really want, then try to get close to it and let go of the rest. So try to find a compromise always. That's why they are ashiqa. That's why they are partners. One last thing, Sheikh Navaid, in relation to prenuptial agreements. As I said, it depends. Look, it happens mostly, I've seen, with couples who have been in marriage before and have been divorced, and when they have fears as a result of being thrown under the bus with finances. We have this a lot happening in the West because of strong laws that allow you know, financial rights, and sometimes they go a little bit overboard where people can use the laws to their advantage by misrepresenting things and then leveraging off it to take more money from the other partner. So there are fears that some people have gone through that. So I believe that when they get to know each other, or even when they're married, they should talk about this past experience of theirs and why they want to do a prenuptial agreement, and not to take it to heart that, you know, this person doesn't trust me or anything. It's something about themselves. So I think that if you do want to, if this is the case, then agree to it. That's fine. Do a prenup, and there's really nothing wrong with it, inshallah ta'ala. But just talk about it and discuss it slowly and why you need to do it. It's not about the other person.